Thank you. Welcome to the City of Palatka City Commission meeting on February 26, 2026 at 6 p.m. or just past 6:09. I'm calling this meeting to order, beginning with the invocation from Pastor Mulberry, Pledge of Allegiance from Commissioner Davis. Please stand if you're able.
Father, we thank you again for another day. We thank you for your love and kindness and tender mercy. We thank you for the opportunity to come before your presence. We pray, God, that you will bless this session tonight as we come together with the vision for the city. We need your help. We need your strength. We need your understanding. God, give us what to do and how to do in all things. Help us to find, God, what's necessary to further the cause moving this city in the right direction. We give you thanks and praise for the leadership that you have provided. Pray your blessing upon them now. Crown their heads with wisdom. Give them understanding. It is in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Please join me in saluting our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Davis? Present. Commissioner Campbell?
Present.
Commissioner Jones?
Here.
Commissioner Boren?
Present.
Mayor Carrera?
Present. We have a quorum. On to approval of the minutes. Has everybody had an opportunity to read the minutes from February 12, 2026?
Mayor, motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion to second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Thank you. Public recognition presentations. Speakers limited to 5 minutes. No action taken on these items. In the spotlight, Employee of the Month, Ms. Jones.
Madam Mayor, Commissioners, for the month of February, I would like to say thank you for all the employees that took the time out to nominate outstanding employees. HR decided to, Human Resource Department decided to give an incentive so that we would have more people participate to recognize coworkers, as well as not putting all of the burden on the directors. So this month, we did have a privilege of one of the nominations that came in that was very unique, because there were 2 employees from one department that was nominated at the same time for outstanding service, and that's Mr. Thomas Jacino at the airport and Mr. James Keeler.
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
So I guess after tonight, the cat's gonna be out of the bag about the success of Twin AJ. Okay? So hey, I had a couple of notes, but I have spent so much time with these 2 young men that I do not need any notes.
All right.
So the 2 things coming to mind for both of them since I've been here has been reliability and dependability. Okay? We got 2 team members that are on opposite spectrums, but you got a unique setup here because Mr. Jacino is probably as trained and as talented as they come. And for this community to have him at this caliber is really special. And it's not just special, but his specialty is fielding operations. So if you recall, a number of months ago, a while back, we had to shut down the entire system. Well, if you want to blame anybody, blame him. But, in all seriousness, he came in, he made some recommendations on additional tests, frequency of tests, and he identified the concerns. And those concerns, we had to go through and revamp the entire operation. So we certainly credit and owe him a debt of gratitude for that, because clean field means people are enjoying their flights and all things are well. This young man here, Mr. Keeley, I know he doesn't look too old, but he has been around for a while, okay? Over 3 years, believe it or not.
All right.
And believe it or not, this is a product of Palatka High School. He started at the airport in the 11th grade, okay, as I think my first intern. And he came and asked me to teach him airport management. So this young man has grown. He's reliable. He's dependable. It's just not the day-to-day operation. These guys are getting certified, but there are things that happen at the airport after hours. And these are the guys that I know are going to be texting me saying, hey, we got this message, let's go, meet you there. Or we may have corporate travelers that come in after hours. These are the guys that are going to step up and say, hey, we got it, do a call out, we'll take care of them. So I'm very, very fortunate to have both of these guys on the team. And to be frank with you, I know it's unusual. It's an employee of the month, but I got to the point I could not submit individuals anymore. So I had to go a twofer here. But we need more team members like this. And I'm glad that we have a leader in Mr. Justino that's really bringing these younger team members up and getting them qualified and certified. So the employee of the month is not enough, but at least it's a step forward in recognizing how important these guys are to the 20HA team. Okay.
Congrats, congrats.
Thank you. Legislative update, Becker and Palatka.
They're on Zoom.
That's what I figured. Welcome. The audio on?
Make sure you don't mute.
There you go.
Can you all hear me?
Yep, thank you,
Hey.
welcome.
How is everyone?
Good.
Good, good. It's good to see everybody. Thank you so much for having us on for this quick legislative update. Give me 1 second really quick. As you all know, I'm Latoya Shields, the Senior Government Relations Consultant with Becker and Polyakoff. And on the line, I have also Yolanda Cash Jackson, shareholder, and my colleague Jalea Wilder as well. We want to just take out the time to thank the city of Palatka. A lot has happened since we have seen you all last week, but you guys had the opportunity to come for Putnam County Days, which was a fun time. I hope you all enjoyed. We enjoyed having you all present. And with that, we were able to send a legislative update to Madam Manager, just kind of highlighting some of the things that were going on at that time. I think one of the highlights that I want to point out is the city manager and Commissioner Campbell had the opportunity to witness the property tax legislation being heard on the House floor at that time. And yeah, it was eventful. I'll leave it like that. But to say the least, that they had the opportunity to see that. And with that being said, we do understand that property taxes is something that is important to the city. And on that particular day, that particular measure passed off the floor by a vote of 80-30. And it is now has been referred to the Senate Appropriations Committee. So, with that being said, moving, but as you all know, with that particular measure, it is definitely still a process. The Senate has to take up something. Right now, a proposal has not been released. And it will probably have to go before the Supreme Court before it gets on the ballot. It is layers to it, but we definitely want to, keep you all abreast of what is going on with the property tax measure. And currently we are in week 7, getting ready to go into week 8. And as you know, we are scheduled to complete session Friday, March 13th, which will be week 9. Again, where we stand from the property tax standpoint, that is still just up in the air. So putting you on notice with that. Some of the other bills that we managed to, just follow on that path and kind of discuss briefly with some of the commissioners were the local business tax. That also too had passed most recently, the House version by Representative Botana. It too has now been referred to Senate Appropriations, but it has not been scheduled. At the time, matter of fact, the Senate version has not moved much. So what we've noticed, let me just start off by saying what we've noticed this session is that many bills have moved through the House, but not through the Senate. Or many bills have moved through the Senate, but not through the House. So we are juggling on both sides. But anything can happen in this last little week. Just about anything can happen. Impact fees were something that we actually that we discussed. And again, the information that I provided in the PowerPoint at that time is still the same thing. Nothing has really changed. The House version has been placed on the calendar for second reading, and the Senate version still has not been scheduled to be heard. Some of another big hot topic that we are aware of that affects municipalities, obviously, is the sovereign immunity. Sovereign immunity is something that was run last year. It did not make it through last year, and we were kind of in a similar boat this year. The House passed its version off the floor a couple of weeks ago, and it has now just been referred to, I want to say Senate Rules, but it hasn't been scheduled yet. Rules is a committee that will continue to meet. They are scheduled to meet next week, and they may meet the last week of session, or at least twice next week. So it is a possibility that it could be heard during that time. I do know that the Senate, many people like the Senate version better than the House version. But at the moment, the Senate version, it just moved. Matter of fact, I just double checked that it just moved. So just kind of keeping our eyes and ears open as it relates to that and keeping you all updated for the sovereign immunity portion. Some land use development legislation has been moving about as well. Some that has passed just recently. A lot of things, again, from when you all were here, were actually heard this week, some as early as today or as late as today. And different things are moving and have just been placed on calendars to be heard, but nothing has fully been scheduled as of yet. So again, we will keep you guys posted on that. Just a quick broad of where we are too, knowing that we are, like I said, we are in week 7 going into week 8. Not much has moved in the grand scheme of things. We have 85 bills out of the 1,800 that were filed that actually passed the House, and 86 bills that have passed the Senate. And there are currently 7 bills that have been enrolled and have been sent to the governor. But again, no signatures, nothing like that, nothing has moved. We have had a conversation as it relates to the rural communities bills, which is the rural renaissance bill that was presented last year, that did not move. It obviously passed last year off the Senate floor, but it did not get heard in the House. Currently, there's a similar measure this year that is following almost in the same footsteps, where it had passed off the Senate floor a couple of weeks ago, but the House has to take it up. So we are still keeping our eye out on that one as well. Just knowing the importance of the city of Palatka being a rural community, and we are always keeping our eyes and ears open of what we see, hear, find that will be beneficial to the city. And that is my quick rundown. Yolanda or Jalea, if you guys want to add anything, please do. And if
Yeah,
you guys, go
I don't have much to add. Thank you, Latoya.
ahead.
I am in a place. I'm going to apologize for the background noise, um, but I don't have much to add.
And I guess too, I will add just really quickly as we wind down this process, you all know, we do know that there are projects that have been submitted by the city um, um, as it relates to appropriations. And we are currently waiting to see where we lie when it comes to that. Currently, I know I put in the presentation, there are some projects that have been placed in both either the House budget or the Senate budget. And we will do our due diligence to move forward through conference and make sure that those projects are secure. We're in constant communication with your House member, Representative Sapp, as well as your Senator, Senator Leak. But currently at this time, we're just waiting to see when we can begin budget negotiations. And that is definitely something that is up in the air right now, with us having like a week and a half left. So good luck to us.
Maybe a week and a half left.
Yeah, maybe a week and a half left. Yeah. So
Any
do you all
questions?
have any questions?
Any questions? No? No, thank you. Thank you for your information. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor?
Yes, go
I would
ahead.
like to, if I'm permitted to,
Go.
just add additionally to lobbyists, they did present to us that of the three appropriation requests submitted, the one for the master sanitary lift station, which is $500,000. At this point, we did not get anything approved in the House, but the Senate is still out. We don't know what will happen there. As it relates to the fire department ladder truck, we requested $375,000. The House did at this moment approve the $187,500. And also with the airport, the runway 927 extension, we asked for $900,000. The House did approve $450,000. I don't know if Michelle's would like to add anything further.
Yes, I can attest to those. Thank you, Madam Manager. One of the things for the House, a rule that is required is for them to fund a project at least by 50%, half of the amount. So when the city manager mentions that it was funded at, 187 from the 375 or 450 for 900,000, that's because they're required to fund it at that particular amount. And so what we will do is continue to push, again, for it to be heard in the Senate, picked up in the Senate, and then push for the full dollar amount that was requested.
So the most important part is that your projects are all in play.
Yes.
And
Mhm.
some of it is strategy and talking to Senator Leak, for example. His strategy is to work in conference. He's been the budget chairman before, and I tell you what, if I was going to have any faith in anybody, it would be that. So we're following their lead. We did the heavy lifting. Your staff did the heavy lifting of getting those forms filled out, getting and continually providing information. We're also talking to the governor's staff to make sure that we can do whatever we can to alleviate veto, and we're still in the game, and that's what counts.
Mhm.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions?
No, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
No, it's our pleasure. Thank you.
On to Charter Review Committee, final report. Mr. Hill?
Mayor, Commissioners, Madam Manager, protocol having been established, it's with great pleasure that we stand before you today to give you the final report of the Charter Review Committee. I want to take the opportunity, if I may, to recognize the members of the Charter Review Committee who are here with me today. If I could have them stand. And just for the record, we had our first meeting back on March 26th of 2024. 17 public meetings were held. This group has been extremely dedicated. We've had some spirited conversations throughout that process. Staff has been wonderful, both the city manager, the clerk, as well as council. They have worked tirelessly for us to get to the point where we are. We've had Chief Shaw, Mr. Yule from the airport has been there with us. We've had the supervisor of election. We've had various individuals to come in and give input. We've had HR come in to give input as to certain aspects, the clerk as well as council and the city manager as it pertains to various areas where we were. As a result of those meetings, we were able to provide you with several questions that were in place, and with the extensive work done by council, and I have to give her individual kudos for what she has done. Jane West has done an excellent job. And so there are several questions. I want to just run through those really quickly, just to kind of let the commission know what conversations and the depth of the conversation that took place over the course of the almost two-year period that we have. And then I'll let Ms. West give you the next steps as we move forward and where we are. Question one creates a preamble to the charter for the city of Palatka. And that's the first question that we have as it relates to where we are. And then we go into question two. Many of these are housekeeping matters, which changes archaic language, the old English common law language, and it puts us into more of a modern language which becomes user-friendly for people as we move forward. It gets rid of a lot of verbiage as it relates to gender-specific conversations, because historically it had been male-dominated in many ways, and it starts to get us to a point where we move forward. And we have to understand that Palatka has one of the oldest charters in the state of Florida. And so that's the first piece. So as we go into question two, it's a revision, and that revision basically abolishes the old municipality language, and it takes out new municipality established, the vesting pieces, contract and debts language as well. So it's a housekeeping measure. Question three, as we look at it, it goes into adding a section defining the city's powers. And so this is a general power section that comes from language from modern charters. And so again, another housekeeping measure as we move forward. Question 4 cleans up language for clarity and relevance as it relates to the form of government. And so it's another housekeeping measure that gets us back. We continually recommend our same form of government. And so we move into question 5, which establishes the frame for commissioner's residency requirement and removes the language regarding the city running its own elections, because historically in the charter, the city ran its own elections. Now we're operating off of an interlocal agreement where the supervisor of elections actually runs the elections for the city. And so it takes out the language for the canvassing board and things of that nature. And so that language gives us the time frame again, which was the 6 months, and both Commissioner Borum and Commissioner Campbell are very familiar with the 6-month rule that came into play after the 2014 election. And so moving into question 6. Question 6, it takes out the word same, and it goes to majority constitutes a quorum, the number for adjournment, compelling physical attendance of members, votes required for the adoption of ordinances. So one of the things that was very spirited as we went through our meetings was the conversation of compelling commissioners to be present and what was necessary to have presence, not by way of virtual attendance, and making sure, and so the outfall of what we had was that even when the quorum is present physically, commissioners will retain their right to vote, and their votes will count in the same manner if they have to appear virtually. There was a big concern as it related to virtual attendance and whether there was a sense of believing that the use of it was abused. So I wanted the commission to actually understand that was a major conversation piece for a few meetings as it related to making sure that commissioners were present, and that not being present and appearing virtually was kind of a last alternative to being present, because traditionally the state of emergency kind of dictated when a person was appearing virtually. We know circumstances will allow for people not to be in place based upon what other obligations may be there as well. But we wanted to let you know that there was spirited conversation as it pertained to that. Question 7, revise the timing of taking office. If you recall, our charter says that a commissioner will, after election, will be sworn in on the first Monday, I think it's at 8 o'clock, following the election, which is very, which was, to me, was very frustrating to take that. There are so many things that happen in between, such as the residency requirement, all those things. So we're trying to create a swift change of power when necessary. And so under the recommendation, now commissioners would, they can take office after at the first meeting or special call meeting after an election is certified, which is consistent with what the school district does with all the other electing bodies within the county as a whole. So it gets rid of that lull from November to January so that people will have an opportunity to come in and take office and transition from there. Question 8 goes into, it's a ballot proposal that deletes the word same out of the language for filling vacancies in commissions other than those resulting from recall. And it's just a housekeeping measure. Question 9 adds the role of the vice mayor and updates language and corrects errors. So the vice mayor, as you know, in this last few months, you've actually selected Commissioner Campbell as the vice mayor. And so this outlines how the vice mayor is selected, places it in the charter, and also identifies how that will take place through the commission's vote on an annual basis. Next up is question 10, which goes into, it corrects gender-specific language in the charter, and it says every officer of the city shall be entering upon the duties of his or her office, take and subscribe the oath or affirmation to be filed and kept in the office of the city clerk. Question 11 goes into candidate background checks. One of the things that we wanted to make sure was that we were seeing a trend around the state where people who were convicted felons were being elected, and cities were having egg on their face, for lack of any other term, because there was no scrutiny in place for those who were applying for jobs. It's not a violation of law for the city to require that a background check be put in place to make sure that we verify certain aspects or requirements that we have as it relates to taking office, and it doesn't take away from anything that's there statutorily. And so it says any person seeking to become an elected official of the city of Palatka must, at or before filling the candidacy, submit to a background investigation to be conducted by the designated city department or third-party vendor. Failure by a candidate to undergo the required background check shall render the candidacy invalid. If an elected official is later found to have provided false information or obstructed the process, the office may be vacated or otherwise forfeited as provided by the ordinance. And so that was one of the things that we put in place to make sure that we verify all individuals who were seeking office. Question 12 adds a section of prohibiting interference with administration, and it's a separation of powers clause, which allows us to be able to clearly define the roles and duties of each piece. It says, except for the purpose of inquiries, investigations, the commission and its members shall deal with city officers and employees who are subject to the direction and supervision of the city manager solely through the city manager, and neither the commission nor its members shall give orders to any such officer or employee, either publicly or privately. Question 13 deletes the city manager's hiring and firing of the city attorney. One of the things that we talked about early on was the fact that you've had multiple instances over the last couple of years where there's been conflicts between the city manager, the city commission, and the city attorney, because the city attorney in the charter as it exists today works for the city manager and not for the city commission. So now our recommendation is that the city attorney will be selected and hired and be under the purview of the commission, just as the city manager, so that it alleviates any chance of a conflict, because the fiduciary duties will be to the city commission. We put that language in place, which caused us to have to delete the powers from the city manager's job description, for lack of any other term. Question 14 adds the city manager's residency requirement. It will require that a city manager, after taking office, will have, within 1 year, has to become a permanent resident of the city of Palatka. Question 15 is an introduction. It deletes irrelevant sections, and it's a strike through. as it relates to what we have in place, as how our elections are administered. And that talks about the canvassing board. Question 16 adds a section related to the city attorney. The city commission shall appoint a city attorney who shall serve at the pleasure of the commission and shall act as a legal advisor to the municipality and its officers and matters related to their official duties. The city attorney may be removed by the commission by a majority vote, which is actually parallel to what is in place for the city manager. Question 17. This section gives a charter review may be amended as provided by general law commencing the first regular meeting November 1st, 2026, and every 10 years thereafter. The committee shall be composed of an odd number, not more than 11 members, plus one alternate. Each commissioner shall appoint one member. Other members may be appointed by application or recommendation. The commission shall appoint an alternate. The committee shall appoint the chair and vice chair. To be eligible for the committee, you must be a qualified elector, a Putnam County resident, and/or a city of Palatka business owner. And so it gives us a date certain so that we don't find ourselves with an extensive lag. So every decade you will have a charter review as it relates based upon the mandates in the charter if the commission so decides. Next up, adds a citizen referendum process under question 18. And that process shadows the Florida statutes. And so our referendum process is extensive. If I went through and read it all, it would be at another commission meeting. And so that gives all of our exhibits as it relates to where we are. Those are the majority. This is all of the questions that you have before you as it relates to putting a referendum in place. Council will advise you as strategically where you need to be. She will also talk to you about how we move forward with public meetings as well as deliberation from the commission or whatever concerns are there as you move forward into this process. And so this gives the framework of where we're at. It also gives an opportunity for the commission as a whole to make suggestions or deletions as to the pieces that you want to put in place. And the critical piece of it is it gives you approximately 5 months to get this all certified and the language in place before it goes on the ballot, because the objective was to have it for the November 2026 election so that we wouldn't incur any additional cost as it related to where we were from an election standpoint and interlocal agreements that you had in place. There are other options and timelines, but council can talk to you on those. And I want to just give a moment for Ms. West to add any comments for anything that I may have omitted throughout.
No, you did a fantastic job. Thank you so much. Our next steps are at the next city commission meeting. There will be an opportunity for all of you to discuss which of these referendums you would like to have placed on the November ballot. And after you make a decision, we will draft an ordinance that you will adopt. And at that time frame, we will have the opportunity. I think it's really critically important. This is a lot of language to put on a ballot, and so it's really important that we do outreach for the public to inform them. And we are fortunate in that many of our charter review committee members, they've been exceptionally civically engaged in this process, and they have agreed to go ahead and participate in those public outreach meetings so they can make themselves available to the public to answer the public's questions about each of these referendum options. So those are the next steps. Yes, Commissioner Campbell.
So I have a question related to, and it may be a little bit premature. You spoke about the discussion that's going to take place at the next meeting. And so from that discussion, and I guess I'm trying to get a timeline or how it looks so that we can make sure, because sometimes we know how we get into those meetings and they can become lengthy and they just things of that nature. But I want to make sure that as we go into that meeting, that we go in as a collective unit with some good direction, and I'm quite sure it's going to come from Mr. Hill, but making sure that while we're there in that meeting, that anything that needs to be discussed is discussed so that you will have the opportunity to maximize getting things the way that they need to, so that it doesn't linger.
Yes, we have a deadline of April to get this over to the supervisor of elections so they can start working on the paperwork to place it on the ballot. So this next meeting is critically important. If any of you have any questions before the meeting, I'm more than happy to meet with you, or you can meet with any of the Charter Review Committee members. They are as well-versed as I am on all of these issues, and I would encourage you to do that to get a wide perspective. And of course, Commissioner Davis even sat on this committee for a period of time, so she also knows. But we should be going into that meeting very well informed so we can meet that April deadline for the supervisor of elections.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or discussion? Thank you, Mr.
And
Hill.
at this time, we,
Yes, I'm sorry.
Yes.
I was going to say that. At this time, we really want to express our appreciation for the Charter Review Committee. So I'm asking that the commission, we are extending to every person a certificate of appreciation.
And a goodie bag,
Say it again.
and a goodie bag, they're right underneath Mr. Hill.
So, come over here. And we also have bags we're going to give out. So I would like to call their names, please. And how do I do it? Please.
I'll come down, yeah.
Yeah, I would like that. So this is from the commissions and city leadership expressing our appreciation. Okay.
And I'm going to call out his name, and we're going to come up so we can take a photo once we go through this. Terrell Hill. Thank you. Allegra Kitchens. Matt Schuler. Tom Dolan. Teresa Jackson. Tiffany Parker Flanders. Audrey Wise. Margaret Ellington. Annie Svetlik. Jeremy Davis. Lee Ryan. Oh, we will take a picture. Thank you again, everybody. It was a huge effort put forth by everybody, and we truly appreciate it, and it was certainly time to do it. Come on up.
Okay, so good? Thank you, Ms. West. Thank you so much.
On to city manager and administrative reports. Fire department update on ladder truck.
Yes, I would like to bring Chief Taylor, please.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Commissioners.
Good evening.
As you may have heard, we have a new ladder truck. We did bring it out for you guys to look at. It's set up outside. So I thought I'd run through a few things real quick, if you don't mind. So I wanted to make a quick shout out to all of our shifts. We had several come group together last night on a rescue out in Melrose at the sand plant, the Vulcan sand plant. Our special operations team headed out there to help them. And it took them 2.5 hours to get him out of the sand. He was transported, so we'll maybe learn later what happened, but it was a pretty dire situation. But they did get him out, and it's great work, and really appreciate the hard work and the dedication. Can we go to the next slide? Sure. And how about the next one? So just to go over some of the capabilities of this truck, it's a 100-foot ladder. We call it a straight stick. It sets up in tighter spaces, it's quicker to set up, and it's safer. It will complement our tower truck. It helps with rescues at heights, defensive operations for containment, and firefighting at heights. It has a 1,500 GPM pump, or gallons per minute. And so this is a great tool for us to use, especially in our industrial contracted areas. Can we go to the next one? So just a couple pictures. We are working on a push-in ceremony, which is being planned now. We will finish our training about the middle of March on the truck. So at that point, we will push the truck in to kind of celebrate the tradition from the old horse and buggy days when they used to carry water on trailers. And they would come back and put the horses in the stalls, wash them and put them away, and then they do the same thing with the apparatus. So this is a hearkening back to that tradition. So we'll have invitations for that, and we invite the whole community when it happens. We're still waiting on some equipment, and we're still waiting on some training on the truck. Can we go to the next one? So we had a couple grants come through for the fire department. We got the hoods from the Women's Club. This is the second time they've given us $5,000 to help us get the hoods. So that was a real blessing. FM Global gave us $5,000 for iPads because we are just about paperless. We are doing most everything, especially on the operations side, through iPads. And it's saving us a lot and helping us with our technology. And then we closed our HMGP for the bay doors at the main station, and we are now opening up another one for the other station. So we're hoping that we can get that done. We're working with the state now to get that grant. The next thing is we've had a lot going on with hazardous materials. We got a new contract with Georgia Pacific for training and for equipment, and we have gone out and bought some. So some of these simulators for hazmat are very necessary. And we are still negotiating with Seminole to try and get some more money to help with that team because hazmat is just super expensive and everything is perishable. So along with that, we did an advanced propane tactics class. We've done risk-based response and detection and also decontamination classes. And we now are putting our last 2 firefighters into the hazmat technician program, and we will be fully staffed with technicians. So for the next slide, this is just a dome simulator. So this is one of the things that we bought with that money. So that if we have a turned over semi-truck carrying gasoline or any other chemicals, food chemicals, we have ways of training on it now. We know the types of things that we will encounter, and it's making us better for that response. The next one is the chlorine dome kit. If you may see there in that picture, if you can see it well, that is chlorine spreading out from that train car because they have a leak. So we have to get that kit to the top of that train car. They weigh about 150 pounds. We have to carry it from wherever we're coming from to get there, get on top of that train, and we got to know how to put that on properly. So we have this now training simulator to make sure these guys are well versed in that. This is not something, this is a high risk, low frequency call. So we need to have the training in place. Next slide. We have, because of our partnerships across the region with St. Augustine, St. John's, Clay, Jacksonville, Nassau, through the local emergency planning committee, we get lots of free classes for hazmat technicians and any other training for hazmat that comes through the state. We're offered seats in it. So this has been a real money saver for the department and also keeping us up to date with our training. On the training task force, That's every other kind of class except for hazmat. So we're switching classes with Flagler County, Palm Coast. If we teach a class, we take some of their people, they put on classes, they take some of ours. So this has been really good for all the departments involved. And then the last slide, I can't tell you who it is yet, but we have the state of Florida VFW Firefighter of the Year.
Oh, cool.
So, yes, so if you guys want to take just a couple minutes and walk through the truck, that's our normal thing, but it's up to you.
Yeah, just a couple of minutes, please. We're going to take a brief recess so we can go see the new fire truck. Resume the meeting. It's my one entertainment.
That's
you know? Everybody, please quiet. We're going to resume the meeting. On to the financial report.
Hello, everyone. Hello. So before I begin, I would like to give a special thanks to Commissioner Davis. This was her vision to present a financial dashboard and speak from this report moving forward. So basically, the first page of the document is an overall picture of the citywide budget. The numbers in green represent that the item is stable, and that it's moving along as it should. We're in the fourth month of the year. We're 33% into the year. And the way we are judging whether it's stable or not is versus right now, we're 33% into the year. And if our revenues or expenditures are within that range of 33%, then it would be considered stable. And so this is the first sheet, and the items that are, we're undertaking corrective action would be for the golf course fund, where we have actual expenditures at the 210,811. We are currently in discussions with the Hertz Golf Company, and we're discussing how we can accommodate or make this fund a operational fund where the revenues match expenditures. Any questions regarding this first page?
I had a comment,
Sure.
especially to the golf course. I know prior to being elected in 2014, I know that there was a lot of issues around the golf course and the golf course losing monies at $300,000-$400,000 a year being transferred from the general fund. And it got to the point to where 2016, 2017, we made an ultimatum to say, hey, we're either going to shut it down or we're going to put forth a different option to be able to carry it forward. And so we ended up coming up with a public-private partnership. That public-private partnership has done us well to this point. We need to figure out very quickly why we're going the opposite way and what's causing that. Because again, we're the public-private partnership, and we're supposed to be able to get, I guess, a certain percentage of the profits is coming back to us. And so if we're losing there, we're certainly going to be, it's a bigger loss as it relates to, even if we made it even. So whatever we need to do, we need to make sure we address that as quickly as possible.
Noted.
Anybody else have any comments or questions? Thank you. Go ahead.
Are you, is that done? Are you done with the report, or? Oh,
Okay, well, no,
But
yeah, I
no,
wasn't
she-
dismissing you, I was thanking you for what had happened, yeah.
There's two
I'm
more
not asking you.
She
Yeah.
said thank you, so I thought,
No, I was just thanking you for that portion, go ahead.
okay. Okay. The second page is our department.
Excuse me, I will ask, can you make that larger so our,
I'm on full screen right now, so. That's not full screen, that's full screen. Okay.
it's okay. I was just asking, maybe could you go to like 150% or 110 or anything over 100? And if not, that's fine. I just was.
I'm just asking. It's okay. Maybe don't do it full screen. Remove
Yeah.
the full screen.
Yeah,
And then increase it.
increase the view size.
Over to the right.
Everybody doesn't have
with
to
the
yell and
plus
scream.
sign.
Let them finish, fix it out.
Yeah, that's it. Thank you. You could increase it again. You had it good. Thanks. Perfect. Better. Okay.
Okay, so this is a dashboard for each of the departments in the general fund specifically. And the items we have here in green are, everything's fine, we're within the range, the healthy range, and the items that are outside of that range are highlighted in red or yellow. Most of the items in yellow or red, it has to do with a project that, where you have to pay for the cost upfront, for not upfront, but capital that we're either renovating. For example, the Jenkins Gymnasium is in red, but there are renovations that were made starting in October. This is a cumulative report, so the renovations that took place at Jenkins Gym are incorporated in that total, the $81,995. Other government services, the reason it's at that high percentage, 42.05, is because we're making quarterly payments for liability insurance, which is normal. So right now, we paid for the first quarter and the second quarter, and it's just slightly above the 33% marker. And for city clerk, they have some software that recently was purchased that kind of took them slightly over the 33%. Any questions regarding the dashboard?
Commissioner Jones, do you have a question?
No, the dashboard is great. I like the concept. What I would like to see it, unless it's broken out, like year to date as well. Can we get more information? Like, what are some of the big ticket items that are spent? For, I don't want to give an example, but I look at some departments and I see they have some healthy budgets. I would like to know kind of like what they're spending the funds on. And I know we have line items, GL items where things are spelled out, but even up to date, what expenditures that they have. Is that asking too much?
You can ask however you like. You're the commissioner, so if you would like something like that, then we can certainly do our best to accommodate your request.
Is that asking too much, Commissioner Davis? I'm just meaning on big ticket items. So, for example, I don't want to give an example. Like information technology, so the budget is $400,000. And I know it's broken out when we look at it as salaries and things of that nature, but so if we are buying a amplifier that we need, and if it was a big ticket item, I would like to see that expenditure and when we purchase those things. Because we actually, for example, the stuff that we utilized in here with the sound system, and we don't really know what we put into it. I think we talked about in our last meeting what components we had already purchased to improve our sound system, and then we didn't want to duplicate it, so that we didn't want to go back and scrap the stuff that we purchased and then go back and buy either replicate it or duplicate another purchase. We would be able to see what we have purchased in the past to improve our system. That's just was a random just pick. Information technology. I want to see it for every department as expenditure. Do we have that? Is there something I'm missing? I don't see our expenditure. I'm just asking.
I mean, I just would like to, we have the detailed line by line GL, but I will say that
It's an
we
amount, but
already-
it's not.
But I want to say this, just to explain. So we have a procurement policy that states that anything above 25,000 has to be presented to you, whether it's that's through the budget, or you'll get emergency, which I'm sure that some of those items have been brought forward to you where are presented to all commissioners for emergency purchases that exceed 25,000. along with during the budget process where each department makes a presentation, presents to the commission. These are our big ticketed items. These are our projects for the upcoming fiscal year, at which point you would have the input and say, well, that is unacceptable or not, or make suggestions as needed. I certainly don't want to duplicate anything as it comes to the budget process and what you're requesting, because I feel like that's covered in the procurement policy, along with the anything above 25,000 is being presented to the commission, whether through the budget or individually on the agenda at each commission meeting.
For the sake of saving time, it's specific what I want to ask for, and I won't do it in this form. I will do it directly to the city manager.
Okay, thank you, and
Thank
I'll
you.
make sure that we respond.
Commissioner
Yeah,
Ball?
but I really wanted the entire commission to know what I'm talking about, but I will yield at this time and maybe bring it back again.
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Ball?
I think I know what Commissioner Jones is talking about. I know I had asked for a report like that before, prior to, from Mr. Bell when he was here, and he provided a report as it related to all of the monthly expenditures by department, and I think you were in the finance, you was the finance director at the time. So I think that's what we're talking about, from expenditure and then the receipts and everything, as well as you receive the funds, as well as what you expend on a monthly basis, and at least you can see what's happening in those. If it's set to 25,000, that's just a trigger point to where you don't see everything below that unless you specifically start asking. I think it will be a good policy, because that's, I think, what Muskogee used that particular report, where the city manager provides all of the expenditures for each month and all of the receipts, so that we can also see everything that's coming in. And those reports are kind of regular across the state and nationwide. So that's just my 2 cents.
Commissioner, may I ask a question, please? You can. In the packet, the agenda packet, the detailed information, for instance, with your machine, can you move like to page 227, Ms. Karen? Any of those pages so we can look at. Just want to be
227?
sure that we understand what you're requesting. Go, yes, please, go. More. Keep going up. We're trying to get to the, yeah, you can stop right there. So is this sufficient for what you're asking? Because this is what we normally make sure you have every month, all the detail. Is
That carries some, but we can talk offline
More.
for
Okay,
what
all
I'm
right.
what I'm
So we
specifically talking about.
Thank you.
So-
We'll make sure the finance director meet with you all.
So let's go back to the dashboard, and I want to ask a question. We got $1 million in the budget for
Other
do I see better without the glass? I don't know. What's the, right there, other governmental services. So other governmental services, that's a big umbrella. What does that cover?
Insurance.
If we go to the, I don't have that, could you go to, can I see?
Insurance
That don't
is
make
one
sense,
major
what I'm
thing.
saying?
I don't know the code right here.
Just put money in a.
What's that? 00104?
00104 it is. And I'll refer you to the page number so we can take a look at it. It's on page,
And 50% of that has already been spent. That's why I'm at. I mean, that's a big.
and that's coming from the liability insurance, which I mentioned earlier. But we can go to page 238.
And what page is it on the GL report of 59?
238,
Yeah. 602 and 603?
Should we-
237 at the top, on line, we can go to line 567 on page 237. There you have the liability insurance that I mentioned earlier, where we're paying that quarterly. We paid for the first quarter and the second quarter, and that's what's bringing this area slightly over.
Right.
And you can see that on line 567, the liability insurance.
The numbers don't match. It says,
If you look at, okay, so if we're looking at column E, that's the budget year right now that we're living in. Column F is for the current month. Column G is our year-to-date. That's the number I'm referring to. That's a cumulative number starting from October 1, 2024 to January 31st, 2026. And that shows that we've spent $278,936.18.
Right, but what he's trying
And
to get
that's-
to is that $1 million amount. Isn't that an adding up of,
right,
Okay.
you know?
you have
we'll
budgeted
further
to
down.
The budgeted amount
I
is
think that's-
605,000.
Okay. The bulk of it is the
There,
liability.
no, keep going.
Okay. The bulk of the $1 million is the liability insurance.
I
And
see the
can-
bulk.
Okay. and if-
So
Okay.
if we want to get specific, what else is under that?
Okay, we can go line by line. We have the professional services, which we see the 30,000 that's there. We have that 75,000, that's for special events, festivals. I don't know if Mr. Cutright is here, but he can give the breakdown of the.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't need
Why
that.
don't we do it offline so
Right.
we
Okay,
can
we
be
can-
more thorough
that's-
in responding? Because that's a combination from my memory.
So
Yeah,
I
and
think
you have
that,
two special events as well on that line, but
I think that both Commissioner Jones and Commissioner Borum has stated that they would get
together with you outside of this
They will
meeting.
meet with the
And I
finance.
think it'll be an opportunity for them to
Get clarification.
respectively collect, individually give their feedback so that they can bring back something to the collective.
Exactly, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions of Ms. Pierre? Thank you.
Oh, there is another page, unless.
Okay, then go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, so we're gonna look at reserves. The reserves for the general fund is in good shape. We have the airport fund, which we haven't focused on, but that's not an area that we need to address. And I'll have to get with the city manager and the airport manager to collaborate and discuss a plan to bring that reserves up. The utilities is great, and for sanitation, it could use some work and some improvement, and we'll make suggestions on that. Any questions regarding, okay?
Right. Well, I
Yeah.
just
One
got a
more.
comment,
Go ahead,
more of a comment. And to speak to that point, again, we got our utility funds. Want to make sure that each one of those funds have a special account that they go to, as opposed to any of those particularly maybe hitting in the general fund or what have you. So, but I have something already drafted that I was going to be submitting out to making that request, because again, from a compliance standpoint, we would be in trouble if any of those funds, we know that the Palatka Gas Authority has its own account. Everything, all the receivables and expenses goes in there. The airport fund, I'm not sure if that is like that at this particular time. And we know maybe the utilities and the sanitation, I think those are proper. So from a compliance standpoint, we could particularly have some issues around those type things. But I'll be submitting my request to help address those things, especially if it doesn't have its own account that receive and receipts and expenses.
Commissioner Jones?
yeah, I don't have anything.
Okay.
Well, now I do have a question, because Commissioner Borum made a statement, if, and so I'm going to ask the question directly. Does the airport fund have its own account? How is that managed?
So, okay, city manager looked like she wanted to respond.
But you're the
Well,
finance.
I would
Finance
like, it
director.
doesn't matter, I don't
I'll
mind.
say,
responding,
okay, as the
but I
finance-
prefer as finance director.
Okay, so the airport, as you know, has its own fund. The
It's an
funds
enterprise.
are, the receipting for airport goes into the airport fund. It is recorded in the airport fund. There's no commingling of funds whatsoever when it comes to the airport. The airport has its own general ledger account funds, which we are presented to you all every month. There are other reports that bring out more details, explaining and showing how much revenue the airport is collecting and how much expenses the airport is collecting.
Right, but does it have its own account?
And I-
Account where the monies, it doesn't touch any other, it has its own account.
Its own individual account,
Account.
separate from general
A
fund or
bank-
any other account. That's
right.
what you're asking.
And where the funds, where's the money land at? Where's the money landing at? It doesn't have its own bank account. That's what I'm
Okay.
talking about.
Okay, so so I would relish the opportunity.
Right, and that's
to
why
have a
we're gonna talk
finance-
offline for this,
Yeah,
right?
I feel like we've got to go through some financial things that, so everyone can be informed, properly informed on what you're talking about, and what we actually do is what we call pooled fund, which is a best practice in governmental accounting, which I can go more in detail if allotted more time. And I think it would be proper and probably beneficial for all parties involved that we explain pooled cash and how all that is handled. And
Absolutely.
that's a best practice, standard practice among
All
all
governments.
governments. Because when it comes to efficiency, we're using that pooled cash concept to save time and money and also properly appropriate staff's time. So if we had a bank account for every single fund, that would require more workload on the staff. But I can go more in detail on that if given allotted time to explain and go through that whole process.
We want to have 4 special funds, but that I know of. So, but we can talk offline about that.
So,
Thank you.
Mayor,
Go ahead, Commissioner.
if I may, I feel that what Ms. Pierre just stated, if she feels that it'll be beneficial for the commission to have that discussion, I personally would make the recommendation that it be placed on the agenda and allow her the allotted time to present that kind of information, because if it'll make us get a better understanding of what it is that she does, aside of what Commissioner Borum is requesting of her, I think it's an educational opportunity, and who are we not to be educated when we can be?
As well as the community, which
Absolutely.
is equally important. Commissioner Davis?
And I want to, point of clarification, I did make a recommendation that we, in commission meetings, get these dashboard reports, summary reports, because I'm of the opinion that as a commission, we're looking for outliers, preferably when they are yellow, not when they're red, but we need to be made aware of those in general. Now, the reason is because typically with executive level reporting or the reporting we do in commission meetings, we need to look for trends and overall trends. Trusting that our finance director is, as in doing her job, is managing the details behind it, which we also have detailed information as well in the reports. And so that was the recommendation that I made to our city manager, and she did just allow me to give some examples. One of the reasons I did that is because in our audience, when we're looking at numbers in spreadsheets that are 25 pages long, it's really not painting a picture of where we are. So I did want to bring that clarification. And if something else is needed other than, then I think we can just speak to our city manager. But for me personally, I don't want details. I look at it before the meeting, and if I have questions, I typically, during my one-on-one meeting with the city manager, ask for that clarification And if it's something out of the ordinary, I will also ask that question in a public forum so we can all be informed. So far, from my review, I have not had that indication, which is why I haven't had to ask any specific questions. Not discounting everyone, I want you to understand the recommendation for the dashboards for clarity at this level meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Any further information or questions?
That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
City manager report?
Yes, Ms. Karen. I just basically would like to give a legislative update. I want to reflect that the Putnam Day.
Did we just have it?
I'm sorry?
Our lobbyists just presented, right?
Right, I'm going to go through my city manager report if it's okay. Could you please, Karen?
What's up?
Move to the next page, right click. Okay, it's just 2 items. Go to the next page. And that was just showing that it was very successful, that Putnam County Day, major achievement, gave us an opportunity to interact with business owners and the different municipal governmental staff. Next page. Just showing that we met with our various legislators. Next page. And then just letting our city, the commissioners, having an understanding that currently we're managing about 56 million in grant projects and city match. Of that 56 million is 3.9 million. And that is it for my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions of Ms. Cottage?
No, but I would like to make a comment regarding Putnam Days. I want to give kudos to our city team for representing our city
Yes.
very well at Putnam County Days. I thought it was very effective. I thought the entire event was very effective. And Palatka and Putnam County showed up really well in Tallahassee. So we are on their radar. And I think you're going to see more positive outcomes because of those ongoing relationships. And I do want to give a special thanks to our city manager, who is definitely making progress in working with our legislators as well as our fellow commissioners. So kudos to our city.
And I meant to say thank you. I wanted to really give thanks to Greta Hall and Simone and Lenore and Chief Taylor and Eli, because they really went. We only had 1 day to prepare for what you saw, the output you saw. It took us like 1 full day, maybe 2 days to do the preparation. So thank you guys very, very much. Thank you.
Thank you. On to discussion direction, grievance policy. Ms. Jones?
Madam Mayor, Commissioners, the policy that's before you was adopted on April 24th of 2025 and included a provision regarding the city manager grievance reporting and investigatory procedure. During a subsequent commission meeting, the city attorney identified a correction that was necessary due to a conflict between the policy language and the city charter. The noted corrections have since been made, and the policy has been updated accordingly on page 4 and 5, item 6 and 7. It was one word stating supermajority versus majority, and that has been changed in the policy. So what's before you now is to just have, with those changes made, for the commission to re-adopt that policy.
Any questions of Ms. Jones? Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Thank you. Workshop meetings, March 11th, 5 p.m., develop policy regarding staff and elected officials' relations. Is there any more to, Ms. Carty, do you want to say more about that, or anybody else?
I think this was because of the meeting, the last commission meeting, where staff presented policy, we did change our process of making sure that it come to you all first and before we present it on the agenda. But at that meeting, our understanding was that you all wanted, the commissioners wanted to have a meeting, workshop meeting, simply addressing that policy. And so we are asking for potential dates. Also, we thought that we understood that there was to be a workshop on board governance. And so the clerk is asking if that's the date, March 18th. So we're just asking for dates for a workshop, really. That's it. Is March 11th or the 18th a good date, or?
Well, I'll speak. March 11th works for, are you asking
We
for
are
both days or one or the other?
I really, do we have to have both? Can we put two
Can't they be
items on
together?
one?
It seems like that's for a single
Yeah,
item.
but it was asked that each one of these two items personally were by themselves, because it might contain lengthy conversation. So the other ones, there's like 4 or 5 more other ones that we can double up on, but these two are the major ones that we wanted to take care of.
Let me bring
Commissioner
clarity,
Campbell.
because I was the one who made the statement.
Okay.
I stated that if we have these meetings, sometimes the conversation can be lengthy and we tend to shut down at a certain time. If this is something feasible that we think that we would be able to have the discussion of both, because, I mean, me relatively speaking, an hour and 30 minutes, 2 hours max, would be able to cover both of those. I would make that we move forward with securing one, but that's just me. But I did want to bring clarity to my statement because I was the one that
Okay,
made it.
thank you.
And if I could suggest a date for the preference, I would prefer the 18th. I have a prior arrangement on the 11th.
And I would I would say the 18th as well, because we have a commission meeting that following night, if we do the 11th. So that'll be 2 meetings back to back.
I'll be flexible, I mean, whatever.
The 18th is fine for me as well. So I guess in summary, we're saying the 18th.
Thank you.
And just for clarification, we'll have both items on the agenda.
I would suggest that, yes.
Yes, yes.
We will. The next item?
Next item, team leadership venue date.
Michelle?
Madam Mayor, Commissioners, it was at your request that we create a team leadership between the department heads as well as that. I did provide the 2024 team building in the packet from 2024 that we had. I did provide to the city manager a scope that I created of work for this team building session, but it's up to the venue. The commission needs to decide where that's at, and then we can find the facilitators for this event and so the date and the venue of where it's going to take place, they will need to know, as well as, and I'm not sure whether the city manager gave you the scope, because you all may have a different idea about what scope, but if you look at what's contained in the previous, the scope is kind of similar to that. So that was a report from Whitson, and Whitson, I think their names was in 2024, that we did at Top Golf in Jacksonville.
Okay, Commissioner Davis.
I'm going to say that I would be looking for recommendations for location, timeframes. I don't know how we can give that, or is that typically how this process has worked?
This would be
For me, I would be looking for recommendations of where we can go and,
Dates, times.
yeah, dates and times. Okay.
Go ahead, Commissioner Campbell.
This would be the second time, to answer your question, that we've done something like this. and I'm of your thought process of coming up with some suggested venues, because our time frame may not be the venue's time frame, and we are approaching a season where a lot of venues may be being booked for a lot of different things, weddings and all of that, depending on what type of venue we're looking at having. So I would make that recommendation to look at to 2 or 3 options, so that you won't just be on the phone calling everyone in the blue book, but take a look and give us 3 options with projected or potential dates that we would be able to get it done. So that way we would be able to move a little bit, right.
And we'll also send, I'm sorry, go.
May I?
Go, please.
And I think a question to the commission, when I looked at what happened in the last event, it looked effective to me. I mean, I think the scope is some team building scope.
I think it was 6. I think what was presented was beneficial. Implementation probably could look a little bit different this time around, but we'll talk about that.
Facilitate with the right
Yeah.
facilitators, but we don't facilitate our own.
Right,
No.
exactly.
I will make certain that the suggested scope from our HR manager is sent to you. It included governance versus management, communication, strategic alignment, conflict resolution, and consensus building. That was the core of the scope.
Did you have something to say, Commissioner Joseph?
Yes, I recommend that we do not have the same vendor.
We knew that, yes, sir.
Right.
Thank you.
And I would also like to make sure that this is something that comes back before the commission within the next 2 weeks.
Oh, it will come back next time.
And and if you don't have anything by then,
Let us know.
just give us an update.
Okay.
And then if we need to extend.
Got it. Thank you.
Anything else? Okay. Item D, Assistant City Manager.
Okay. What about the staff report? You can't get that up there? Okay, so, during our meeting, our last commission meeting, what I was looking at was whether or not we were making the correct decision moving on with the assistant city manager. I looked at the fact that Doge is being implemented throughout the state of Florida. And so I decided to go back and look at the cost per our salary scale that the city of Palatka is under right now currently. And the conclusion is that the general service director and the assistant city manager, their duties are very, very similar. However, being honest, the assistant city manager does allow for a succession plan. But the cost is 22 to 26 more than the general service director. So my recommendation was that since I had gotten, even though from the dais I did get the direction to pursue hiring an assistant city manager, and we did move forward. We did place the ad out there, and we received about 24 applications. But I just paused for a moment to do a financial assessment to just determine if we were headed the right track, on the right path. To that point, the operational audit will be starting in maybe 2 to 3 weeks. And by May 31, we will have the plan is to have a completed report from the operational auditors. And one of the areas that they will look at is staffing for outside government, population, and so forth. So that is the analysis that I completed.
Go ahead, Commissioner Davis.
Could you repeat the date for the operational audit target date?
Okay, tentatively?
Yeah, just.
Come on, please. Thank you.
We're in discussions with the company Aid Bailey on the contract. We're at the point where we have a contract drawn up. We've discussed the contract. We've discussed the terms of the contract. We want to ensure that the product that they provide is sufficient to the commission and exactly what is needed. Their goal was to give us a response by the end of this week,
Right.
and by that time, we'll have definite dates, but the goal was to start the second week of March,
Right.
which would be, I believe, the 9th or the 17th of March is where they would want to start, but that's all depending on the contract. It hasn't been signed yet.
Okay, so we're very close to finalization. So the plan also is to have the completed report by May 31. So I think, in essence, what I'm recommending is, I just want to do in a way what is best for the city at this point. So if we move forward with the assistant city manager position, just wanted you all to understand that the cost will be about 22 to 26% more than if we did fill the general service director position. But there is a consideration with the assistant city manager in that it does allow us to develop a plan for succession. And that is it.
Commissioner Davis.
Okay. I'm going to make some statements, and some of them are what I believe, and some I'm looking to get clarification and feedback from my fellow commissioners. So, as the city manager, you have authority to hire staff.
Yeah.
That is your role and responsibility. And with information to the commissioner updates as you're giving. One of the things I want to say is it looks like you've started doing some evaluations as to what direction you may want to move and what's best for the city. So I will say that we are definitely depending on you to make that decision and come up with that information. I've thought about, because I know we gave direction before about moving forward hiring an assistant city manager. And I want to speak for myself in that, especially after going to Tallahassee, we talk to other cities, get other information, considering that potentially we may not get tax funds in the future, that we need to look at efficiencies. And what I want to recommend is we're looking at getting this operational audit. Instead of just adding staff, where we think we need it or based on decisions that were previously made, and potentially duplicating efforts, I would like for us to get feedback to understand what we need from a true operational audit so that we are efficient and effective. Because what I'm not sure of is how do we know that we have positions that could be better suited, in collaboration with what you're thinking. I mean, I just don't want to keep hiring without a full review of where we are as a city, where we're going, understanding that resources could potentially be even more constrained than they are now, and making sure we're putting the money where we need it at the right time. So I do want to say that. Because in case it comes across as a difference from what I said before about succession. The other thing, I did do a little bit more investigation, and having an assistant city manager potentially is a succession plan. May or may not be, depending on who's in the position and what they do. We would think it would be, but I don't want to make an absolute of that. So that is the other thing I want to change my mind about. And in talking to other cities, even larger than we are, many of them do not even have an assistant city manager. So I do want to just make sure we're looking at that and making decisions. And the decision may be that we need to hold off on either one of the positions. So thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else have any feedback?
I just concur with Commissioner Davis as it relates to that. I'll support that wholeheartedly. Again, like we say, we got a number of different things that's going to potentially be impacting our revenue streams as it relates from local business tax receipts. We got also, they're going to be probably pushing us down to the rollback rate, what have you. If you try to raise your tax by 1 penny, you got to really explain that, and that's Doge coming in doing all those things, in addition to the property tax, and then the additional exemptions that we are facing. So we got a number of different things that we need to be looking at in addition to what we've gotten tonight with the golf course, looking at the loss on the golf course, looking at what was presented by the airport, which I'm not sure if that number, I need to dig into that one a little bit more, but those are the things that we really truly need to consider as it relates to that, and not just filling positions. And I thank you, Commissioner Davis, for that analysis.
Anybody else?
It appears,
Go ahead.
I was gonna,
Go ahead, Commissioner. Go ahead.
it appears based on the conversation, and I won't rehash what has already been stated, but I definitely agree. And I see Commissioner Jones, his head is shaking. So at this moment, if they're looking for official action, I would make the recommendation that we at least wait or table this discussion until after we have had the audit, which would be around the May time, to bring that back to the commission for consideration, and that would be my motion.
Any further comments? Motion is second. All in favor? Oh, go ahead, I'm sorry. Oh, go ahead.
And it is related to the motion. And I do want to assure our citizens that there is a plan. If we did not have a city manager, we are members of the Florida League of Cities, and they do have interim city managers. So, I know with our history, I want to make sure we have, there's always a contingency plan.
Yes.
Whether we have implemented them or not. But there is a plan. So I do want to say that we're not looking at this just haphazardly. Thanks.
Thank you. So motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to open the floor to public comments. This is for items not specifically listed on the agenda, general items of concern or interest. That's 3 minutes, please, and give your name and town or city of residence. I do have some yellow cards already submitted. Ms. Kitchens.
Allegra Kitchens, Palatka, Florida, and I don't need you all to discuss this tonight, but I just want you to think about it in the future. When somebody presents to you, they're on the agenda and they make a presentation, they have roughly 5 minutes. When we, the public, get up and we have to put our information into what they've said, we've got 3 minutes. I think it would be only fair if you would allow the citizens at least 5 minutes to respond to the presenters and to you all. 3 minutes is very hard to get what you need to say into 3 minutes. And I know that you don't want to hear people repeat stuff. When I was on the commission, we had basically unlimited comment, which should be under the Constitution of the United States. But yes, it got tiring. However, I would request that you think about it in the future and maybe make it an agenda discussion item, allowing the public to speak for 5 minutes instead of 3. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Garris?
Good evening. I'm glad that the city has formed Pam Garris, will live in Palatka. Make sure everybody remembers that. I'm glad that the city has formed a committee to oversee the installation of art projects in the city. The guiding principles of such installations should be determined by an overall theme for the aesthetic of our historic river city, which should be established before any art is commissioned. The art should be of an enduring nature, not trendy or garish. Just as there should be an art committee, there should also be a committee to oversee the installation of landscaping, maintenance of it, and maintenance of trees in the city. There should be a line item in the budget to fund the recommendations of the Landscape Maintenance Committee and the landscape tree maintenance professionals hired to advise them. The work of these two committees would work hand in hand to improve and perfect the overall aesthetic of the city. These are the details which will make our city shine. Thank you for your time and all that you do to make a positive, lasting impact on our beloved city of Palatka.
Excuse me, Mr. Collins?
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Commission. I'm standing before you tonight in regards to a public records request that I originally submitted on December 29, 2025. Oh, I'm sorry, Robbie, Palatka, Florida. Robbie Clunch. After not receiving the public records request on the 22nd, I attended the meeting. I handed everybody a copy of the public records request. On the 30th of January, I received my public records request, or at least received an email stating that they were fulfilled. After reviewing those, I came to the conclusion that there were several items missing from the public records. I notified the city manager, I notified the city clerk that I felt that there was items missing. On February the 4th, the city clerk emailed me asking me to clarify what items were missing. I stated that number 2 on that list, number 4, and number 7 were completely missing, and that there was also emails missing, email communication, or text messages, or so forth, however the communication was done. In reviewing these documents, I found multiple emails that have either the original email with no response or a response with no email. I have 2 examples here. I want to clarify, on December 11th, it was stated that there was no water in the cemetery. After that, I notified the city manager and I notified the mayor that there absolutely was water in the cemetery. On December 26th, Joe sent an email to the city manager stating, please allow me to clarify. Oak Hill has fresh water running to the building on site for bathrooms and the water spigot. This is a small line and cannot handle an irrigation system. That was sent on the 26th. Who sent it to him? Because there's absolutely nothing in my original documents that would have made him want to clarify that. So somebody contacted him, that I contacted them about the water situation, so he was clarifying. That's what I believe. But there's no original email to that. Number 4 is complaints on the cemetery. Just a couple years ago, there was some ladies that were complaining about vandalism. They had put some cameras out there, so on and so forth. I'm sure y'all remember that. I was told that there was no complaints. Didn't know how it was handled previously, but as far as they knew, there was no complaints. I personally filed multiple complaints. The other email is an email requesting for additional services from those complaints. It asked for a quote and...
Finish up, please.
Yes, ma'am. It asked for a quote and additional services to be done. There's no response to that email. I do appreciate y'all's time. I understand my time's up. I have more to say, but that's fine.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful evening.
Is there anybody else here for public comment? Oh, I have Mr. Sheffield, so sorry. Come on up, Mr. Sheffield.
Good evening, Commissioners, City Manager, everyone. Very quickly, I'm very, very encouraged and excited about the
Give
energy.
your name, please.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Alan Sheffield, Palatka. Excited about the energy that I see up there, because with what you've gone through and done and how you're looking forward, I just wanted to come up because I still want to remind you we're a third of the year into the year now. And what I reminded you about was, at the time we were looking at tax rates and all of that stuff, said it's not the time at that time where you're trying to make a decision where you have to hold or raise. This is the time during the year to figure out how we get to a goal of having our property taxes not go up or even decrease. And I know I'm hearing about what may be shrinking in terms of resources. So with that, I actually wanted to get up now instead of later, and see if you have put something on the docket of the city manager or finance as a project to really go through and look through and see how we can make sure we're doing what we need to do. I'm excited about the operational audit. That should glean a lot of things. We don't have to do things the same way. There are very creative ways to manage, as all of you know. So excited, commend you. Don't forget about getting something in action to see how we can get to the where we want to be at the end of this budget year.
Thank you. Is there anybody else here for public comment this time? Seeing none, we'll close public comment. Do we want to respond to any of the
Yes, I would.
concerns?
I would like to respond quickly to Mr. Sheffield that, yes, we have already started preparing analysis. Even in prior commission meeting, we did give some information on ad valorem and the impact if we lost it, how it represents 25% of general fund and 10% of our operating budget. So we have begun, just for the record, we have begun looking at strategies and so forth, and we will invest a whole lot more time in that effort. As it relates to, I wanted Public Works, utilities to come up related to, is the, your question, please. Can you come up and just say anything related to the ward in the cemetery? And I know that you all have talked about trying to assist and so forth.
Yeah, the statement that was made about no water there, I mean, there was obviously water. All it's for is for the bathrooms. It's a small line where it wouldn't sustain any kind of irrigation system. And the complaint, as far as the camera goes, I believe that was just a verbal complaint that was made at a commission meeting. There was never any transaction. That's really all I got.
Right, and
We provided everything that we have.
as far as we know.
Yes, ma'am.
And as it relates to, oh, I'm sorry, Commissioner, go ahead.
I'm more concerned with trying to get to the bottom of what is he trying to accomplish, because this has been something that has been or has come before the commission for quite some time, and it appears that we are or have, from what I'm hearing, have exhausted everything. And so I'm ultimately just, and I know that he met with city manager at some point, and in those conversations, what was the ultimate goal or what was the bottom line of something that was trying to be achieved?
So one of the concerns that I clearly understood was that he wanted to have water to be, transferred to where his loved one is, so that part. And I remember we were supposed to work with him with that.
Which we did. We put a spigot out by the section of the cemetery to help accommodate his situation.
So that, as far as I understand, has been resolved. The other item was the public records request. I did have Ms. Karen to go back through everything to find everything that we have, that we can find. And Ms. City Clerk, what's the status of that?
I gave him everything we have. The last email that I sent him, was Monday, this previous Monday. The email before that was in February of 16 with the answers that he asked for 2, 4, and 7. And 7, it specifically says, I do not have records for this. And number 2 is the same. And number 4, these all came from Public Works Department. So he specifically asked for complaints. She didn't have any complaints because it was before her time.
Okay.
And she doesn't know how they did their complaint department at that particular time. So I forwarded her answers to him, and that was 2, 4, and 7.
So Commissioner, to your question, at our level, we feel we've done everything that we can understand to do. But I have no problem bringing Mr. Robin in and just trying once more to be certain. You know, if there's anything that is outstanding, but we've done all we understand. And I will
Commissioner?
meet with him again. I have no problem with that.
Commissioner Borum has something.
So, thanks, Mayor. But when we talk about the emails, and I think I briefly spoke with Robin and also spoke with the city clerk, not specifically, we just happened to have a general conversation about it or whatever. But anyways, from when you think about it and you talking about records, then the records retention, as if it was within the last 2 years, normal record retention goes general 5 to 7 years. And so, if it's in an email and you had people who were recipients, additional people who was in the 2 or CC, you should be able to have your database or your email administrator should be able to glean those. Even if it was deleted, it should be able to be recovered. So that's the issue he's having, and that's what I kind of understood and heard from our city clerk as it relates to that. And that's what he's talking about. There was some where it generated from, who it came from. So you look at those dates, you have your email administrator to kind of look into that and see what they come back with.
We will follow up again, but I was certain we had done that, but I will follow up
Okay,
once more.
if you've done it, then don't do it again.
No, I'm going to confirm it again.
Okay.
Okay, please?
Thank you. No, we can't do that now, sorry, public comment's closed, I'm so sorry.
Thank
Okay,
you.
well, they both just lied, the other
No,
day.
please,
I
sir.
have the email right here on February.
Sir.
Okay,
15th
please, sir.
That there was a record.
Chief, please stop. I know it's a difficult issue for you. Please stop. Okay, thank you.
I mean, that's all I'm asking.
Yes, sir. I will follow up again because he's showing. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Is there anybody here for additional public comments? Seeing none, we'll close public comments and we'll move on. Consent agenda. Oh, we already closed public comments. What am I doing?
I got item 8B to be pulled, 8B.
Okay.
That's
I'd like to pull G,
G?
J, and K.
G, GJ,
GJK.
GJK, and B.
Oh, okay. Anybody else?
I can't believe it. I also have a question on A.
A, okay.
ABJK?
ABG?
Oh, you said
ABGK,
ABGJK.
ABG,
Anything else?
ABGJK.
With that, do we have a motion?
Move to approve the consent agenda with the exception of items A, B, G, J, K.
Thank you.
Second.
We have a motion, a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Thank you. A resolution of the City of Palatka granting approval to hire R&M Service Solutions to replace a broken 24-inch water valve on the main water line from the water plant for $182,255. Mr. Higginbotham.
Yes, ma'am. I'm here to answer any questions you have about that.
$182,255.
Yes, sir.
24-inch valve.
Yes, sir.
I mean, they need a special crane or something to make that happen, or the valve costs that much money? That's a lot.
The valve is very expensive. I don't have the breakdown in front of me, but I believe I added it to the resolution. It is the main trunk line coming out of the water plant going towards the water tower. And the valve is broken, partially closed, which means that the water plant has to work harder to push the same amount of water. And we need it closed so that the water plant can change out valves inside the water plant. 24 is our biggest main in the city, and so the valve itself is very expensive. The 24-inch main is quite deep, which adds another layer of expense to it. And because it's the main trunk line coming out of the water plant and going to the water tower, they have to install 2 line stops, one on one side of Moody and one next to the valve. That way we can continue to serve water to the city without an interruption. It will be a smaller line that's serving the city, so it'll be an 8-inch coming out and then feeding the entire city as opposed to the 24 going to the water tower and then out. So we may experience some, some less pressure, but it's a long process. Could be anywhere from like 12 to 48 hours, depending on what they run into down there. So it's a little more expensive than just replacing the valve itself. It adds a little bit to it in order to continue to serve water to the community.
Any additional questions?
I wanted that explained, because that's
And
And
also,
we
more
did
important-
budget
yeah, right.
for it, out of the,
not that it's budgeted, but when I have those questions, because I like for it to be explained and been asked, why did we spend that much money on a valve? It don't look, I know it's important, but it don't, 24-inch valve. I saw the breakdown.
Okay.
I just wanted you to explain it.
Oh, okay.
I wanted Joe to explain it, actually.
I think
But I appreciate you.
Eli did a fine job, thank you.
Great, Eli.
Any other questions of Mr. Higginbotham? Do we have anybody here for public comment on this item?
I got another question.
Oh, we got another question, okay.
Not related to that, but we purchased a lift. That lift, that 100-foot lift, is that the right thing I'm saying, lift?
Talk about the one that
robotic thing.
it can do different move, move.
Articulating that.
Yeah.
Yes, come on, Mr. Ferrell.
Where's that? What have we done with that in the last year?
But that's not on the agenda.
I'll just ask a question.
We have used it quite a bit, all throughout the city. We changed several lights on going over the bridge, which required us to hit them from another lane. That was the original Public Works Director's plan, is sometimes in order for us to change those lights that are at 60 feet or 50 feet, can't be changed from right under them, you have to move over. So that is the main use for that height, sir. But we have utilized it for all kinds of things, getting over trees and things
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
I already
That's
know
it.
somebody was gonna say point of order, but I want to.
Right, I was about to say that, so please.
Thank you,
Okay.
thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you. We have nobody here for public comment on this item. Do we have a motion?
Move to accept consent
Second.
agenda item A.
Second.
We have a motion, a second, all in favor? Aye. Any opposition? Thank you. B, adopt resolution 2026-25, granting a special events permit to Lee All Jr. for the Welcome Home Birthday Bash, which will be held on 4/25/2026 at Booker Park Pavilion. Who pulled that? Did you pull that?
No, so, I was pulling the item for, for Ms. Kitchens. She asked me to pull,
For public comment?
pulling it for public comment for Ms. Kitchen. Is 8, was that the right one I pulled for you, Ms. Kitchen?
No, it was
See?
not.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Madam
So
Mayor.
that's my fault. So we don't
Thank
need you
you.
for that B. I thought it
Mayor.
was,
Is there anybody here for public comment on this item?
Eddie Cutright, 1900 Napoleon.
let's see.
Madam Mayor,
Thank you. No public comment. Do we have a motion to
move to
approve?
Motion
approve.
approved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposition? Thank
Sorry about
you.
that. Okay, so we-
On to G, adopt resolution 2026 R31 establishing a public arts advisory committee. And that was a request from Ms. Kitchens as well as Ms. Duke.
okay.
So if we can have some information on that, please, Ms. Swift.
Ms. West, if that's okay.
Sure. This was actually at the direction of the CRA board, a discussion that you had that the CRA board or the city commission shouldn't be unilaterally making decisions on public art projects now that you have transferred funds over for that specific need, and instead that a committee should be established, and so this basically establishes that committee per your direction.
Thank you. So we have public comment on this, Ms. Duke? And then it'll be followed by Ms. Kitchens.
Bill Duke, Palatka, Florida. I just wanted on this particular issue that we have a workshop. We have three very active art leagues or groups here in town. And I think it's a workshop for us to work together to come up with a plan and a goal for this kind of thing and, you know, and help with setting up the committee itself. Thank you.
Ms. Kitchens?
Allegra Kitchens, Palatka, Florida. I asked for this to be pulled because you need to table it. The ordinance up under item 9C, I think it is the mural ordinance. The mural ordinance says you may establish an arts committee. Once again, the cart is before the horse. On the consent agenda, you have been asked to approve the arts committee. In probably 30 minutes to an hour, you'll be asked to approve the ordinance that actually gives you the authority to set it up. My request is you table the request to do the committee, the Arts Advisory Committee, until, and I'll be talking on the actual ordinance itself, until you hold a public workshop on the ordinance itself with the general public, all the art groups, including the 3 major art groups that have been here for a total of 125 years working in the city of Palatka and overseeing everything that you are now trying to oversee. But the main thing is, don't vote on this right now. I don't see how you can when the ordinance that gives you the permission to set it up has not been passed yet, and it's just first hearing tonight, assuming you even pass it tonight. Then it's got to go to second hearing before it even passes. But yet you've been asked to approve the committee, the horse before the cart before the horse. So please table this until the issue of the ordinance has been settled, and then come back with this. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else here for public comment on this item? Seeing none, we'll close public comment.
Yeah, just clarification.
Absolutely. The
Because
two are
I
not
think we are
dependent.
mixing,
Yes.
I want to make sure.
Correct. These two are not mutually dependent on one another. You can have a public arts committee without the passage of the ordinance, and by the same token, you can have the passage of a mural ordinance without reliance on the public arts committee. They are not mutually dependent on one another. But if it's the will of the commission to have a workshop.
So I'd like to give some personal experience context. In a previous city, I was a member of the Public Arts Commission for our city. And we came together and we established the scope of how we would support the city based on the guidelines, the general guidelines presented. And what it ended up being is for public art to enhance the city. So there was a specific scope of when new businesses came or new builders came, that we would ask them to voluntarily include a piece of art in their, whatever they're establishing, their office building or whatever, just put a piece of public art. What the commission did is they provided a service if they agreed to provide a portion of their budget to do that, their building budget or whatever they're doing to develop. And what the commission did is that we work with them to ensure that any guidelines or any laws or ordinances, that they were in line with them, but creatively, we were not telling them what they could and could not put. So it wasn't that. The other thing we did is we offered a first consultation with a professional, because many times those companies did not have someone to assist them with that, developing any kind of public art or looking at what that would look like. So I just want to offer context of how a committee could be used in that instance, and that the goal is not to supersede our existing mural committee or to really control the artistic expression of anyone or anything, if that makes sense.
It does, and so
thank
all
you.
of
I hope
those
that's helpful.
organizations will still be free to present and do what they do. This would just be an overall effort to have more information to this group and everybody else. With that said, how do we want to move forward?
I do want to ask another question.
Go ahead.
Could you, Ms. West, read, I believe we had a recommendation as to the makeup of this committee. Could you read that, please?
This is G.
Yes.
Yes, it's G.
sorry, I had it.
It's okay, it's in the resolution. So the makeup of the committee shall be a 7-member committee appointed by the city commission. Membership shall reflect a diversity of professional expertise, artistic background, and community representation, and shall include 1 professional visual artist, muralist, sculptor, or arts administrator, 1 individual with experience in historic preservation, local history, or cultural heritage, 1 representative of the business, tourism, or economic development community, 1 member representing Palaka's African American community with demonstrated involvement in cultural or civic initiatives, 1 faculty member or administrator from St. John's River State College, preferably from an art, humanities, history, or related discipline, and 2 art students enrolled at the St. John's River State College, preferably with an interest in visual arts, design, public art, or art history. There is a clause on residency. Membership is not limited to the residents of the city of Palatka. Appointees may reside within or outside the city, provided they demonstrate relevant expertise or a meaningful connection to the Palatka community. Although the provisions on membership with the St. John's River State College do kind of limit that a little bit.
So I will say that I am in favor of this resolution, with the exception, I believe it should only be 1 art student, if an art student, not 2. I just want to put that out for consideration before we move forward and hear from my fellow commissioners.
So you can make a motion with that
I
change.
I
however-
move that we,
Just a bit of advice, currently it's 7 members, would you
wanna
like
have
to
the odd
designate
number.
that other
Yeah.
person? Okay.
I was
Do
just
you have a
thinking, I was really just thinking a member of the committee who may be
I'm sorry,
the community, a community member,
General?
a general member.
Do you want to make a motion to that?
I move that we accept the resolution as presented with the exception of the committee makeup to be as read, but with 1 art student and 1 general community member.
Second.
Motion is second, all in favor? Aye. Any opposition? Thank you. On to J, appoint Sarah Maxwell to the Airport Advisory Board. Who pulled that? Did you? Who pulled?
oh,
No,
I'm
no, no,
sorry,
no.
I did.
Okay, thank
No,
you.
I was
No,
just-
I was just asking.
I apologize, I'm
That's okay.
sorry.
That's okay.
The reason I pulled these 2 applications, because we had such an exciting discussion in our last meeting about boards and board membership. One of the things I notice is that when we get these applications, we typically look at them because they're voluntary board positions, and we haven't really had a way to vet those who are applying. Why do they want to be on the board? Do they understand the responsibility? Because it came up that some boards were having difficulty acquiring quorums before meetings. So in the absence of a process other than the commission approving these applications, I just wanted to get some feedback. Are you familiar with the applicants, Mr.
I am,
McNair?
yes, ma'am.
Thank you. So
So-
that's what I'm asking.
Okay. If I may.
Go ahead.
So these 2 particular individuals are individuals that I have dealt with as the airport operator. Economic development with the chamber, and the other individual is the executive for GP. So, that type of input and feedback is what we're looking for. These are folks that are committed to improving the community. And, so I was comfortable in receiving the application as well as, dealing with them on a one-on-one basis. Okay?
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Is there anybody here for public comment on this item? Seeing no one, close public comment. Do we have a motion?
Yes. May I combine accepting items J and K?
Yes.
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Thank you. Do we want to do we want to break or keep going? Okay. City Commission, Manager Evaluation Conclusion. Ms. Jones, you're coming up, so.
So I think this is probably labeled, but what the mayor is doing is at the request of the commission. Sorry, that's not on. At the request of the commission, the two reprimands that were going to be issued to the city manager, which I have also gave each of you, have been presented with copies of the two different styles for you all to, for the mayor to actually present those, or give, I should say, to the city manager tonight.
Go ahead.
Do you need to read something?
I can read, so again, as Ms. Jones stated, there's two versions of each letter, so to speak. Go ahead, what you say?
So I will go, if you, Madam Mayor. Number one, I would like to, I want to make this statement, and it really goes back to what I alluded to when I was talking about the city manager's ability to hire for positions with information to the commission. So while we did agree that a letter would go into the city manager's file regarding two items that were not done timely, I'd really like to clarify that I see those as points of correction versus reprimands because they were both completed. They were not completed timely, so there was I think it's a corrective action that needs to be noted and duly noted, because we voted to make that happen. But I want to make sure too that we definitely stay focused moving forward on items that do not seem to be appropriate for her position, I guess is what I'm trying to say. The two items, I believe, one was not finishing a class timely, correctly, that she was mandated to do. And the second item was,
The ethics issue involving
taking.
requesting an employee.
Yes. And so I'm going to recommend that we place two letters, I think I saw the second option for a corrective note with the note that they had both been resolved.
Anybody else have any important thoughts?
That was my recommendation. I mean, she has the opinion, but there was discussion, there have been discussion, and we did vote. I don't think the matter should change based on being at the point of.
Are you going to talk into your mic, Mr. Campbell?
I'm sorry, of being where we are as of now. I mean, you can't, yeah, you corrected it, but there was ample enough opportunity to, when I questioned that there was not an answer that was straightforward versus had there been, no, it wasn't completed, then of course, but there just, the truth was not there at that time, hence the reason why I made that recommendation.
And Mayor? And I want to make sure I clarify. I'm not saying to not do it. I'm agreeing because we agreed that we should. I was just really trying to speak to which version of the letter that needed to go in the file. That was all.
Yeah, I just got to comment on that particular thing, and it's basically on both. And I think they said there was the recommendation as opposed to you're going to be mandated to complete these trainings. And so if it's in that regard and it was not super clear to her, and that's my only pause as it relates to that. This is a serious thing as it relates to just something that is, I don't think is serious enough to be able to put that in her file just because she missed a training or what have you, because it was recommended. That's just my position on that. And the same thing with the ethics thing as it relates to, because she did rebut the statements as it related to what was requested, what was alleged that was requested to have some work done at her house. So those things were rebutted. So I took those things in consideration, and that's my pause for not willing to move to put that in her file, right, based on that.
Commissioner Campbell?
I don't want to keep hashing the point, but it was not a recommendation. It was a requirement in order to close out a previous grievance that had came before the commission. So it wasn't a recommendation, it was a requirement that had not been met.
Okay, and with that said, it sounds, go ahead. Do you have anything, Commissioner Jones, that you want to add to this? Okay. I'm getting that the consensus is that it not be a letter of reprimand, but that it does go into her personal file as a memorandum.
I do have something to say.
Go ahead.
We already voted on it.
Correct.
And it's supposed to be in there, so I don't understand going backwards at this point.
I don't.
We voted on it, and the only thing you got right now is the actual letter.
Right, which
So
version?
there's no
Correct.
going back from that.
Right, correct, that's what I'm saying, so which version is the question?
Yeah, that's
here
all we.
before us.
Right.
So
And that's-
what I heard from Commissioner Davis was different than a letter of reprimand. That's what I understood.
That's what I'm asking, which, so we're gonna go in the direction of, yes. The memorandum for personnel file versus a letter of reprimand.
Madam Mayor,
Go ahead.
I mean, just because we had passed this already, we voted on it. Commissioner Campbell brought it up. We all voted in favor of putting that reprimand in the file. So I'm really, whether you call it a letter of reprimand, which, if you go back, I think that's what it was said. You just got two different versions of how you want to put it. Why that, I don't know. I've read it as a correction. It said a correction, if I'm not mistaken, that's what was going to be done tonight, a corrected version. And so when I looked at it in the packet earlier, I thought they were just making a correction. So it's a correction saying reprimand versus, let me see, you have it right here.
Yeah, so that's.
Both letters were sent to us, though.
Right, so I thought they were, and they are two reprimands. Commissioner Campbell, can you straighten it?
I guess here's the question, and I'm going to go back to something I've said before. When we ask for something, we need the experts to give us what we're asking for. I think is what I hear us saying. We did receive two versions, two letters. The first letter, I will tell you, when I received it, I believe it asked for feedback.
Absolutely.
I gave feedback. I don't know if anybody else did. I gave feedback. The reason for my feedback simply was based on the fact that when I look at what we're trying to do is I'm looking at paperwork in a file versus a long-term relationship with the commission, the city manager. Now, I'm not excusing what did or did not happen. What I'm saying is that we need to look at what culture we're attempting to set. As the commission, we are the city manager's supervisor, so we have a responsibility to supervise and support. Yes, we voted to have a document put in her file. I'm not negating that because it passed. Whether we do it or not is not what we're here to talk about. I was just simply asking what direction do we need to take so that the letter can go in her file. The first letter I thought was not complete, and painted the proper documentation of what occurred. So I offered just additional information. It's really the same letter, but with additional information, with an update that while the class was not, documentation to show that the class was completed timely was not given to us. At this point, since the letter is late, that the class has been completed. So I just put an update on there, or requested that an update be put on the letter to show that corrective action was taken and that it was completed. But the letters are virtually the same with proper language.
And so what is the pleasure of this commission?
I move that we accept the updated letter, the second letter received, to place in the city manager's file.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second, but the reason I'm seconding it is because the heading of the letter, whether it's the second or the first, still states letter of reprimand.
It does.
Yes, it does.
Discussion. So I'm just saying, my motion was that we accept the second letter.
Which is not titled letter of reprimand.
Sure is.
Okay, so that means the letter that is a part of the packet is not.
You want to look at them? Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, that's what I'm saying.
But reference,
Are these different from what we received?
what I'm looking at in the packet versus, and Madam Clerk, advise me if I'm wrong, I mean, there are two letters that's placed in the packet.
She placed the same letters.
So one is not labeled letter of reprimand.
Well,
Oh, one version, I should say.
that's the first letter.
Right. That's the first version, and then the next version,
That's
Go to the,
This is the first one?
those two are the first version, yes.
So that means they're not in the agenda.
it's not in the packet. Well, that's why the confusion.
Got it.
Because that's why I was confused what you were saying.
So listen, for sake of, because again, that's not a part of the agenda, and I was going by what.
I see.
So I would make a motion that we table this finally, and make a time certain, because I'm not familiar with, and I'm not gonna make a decision based on what's not presented in the agenda.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So we already have a motion
Well,
and a
there was
second.
already a motion on the table.
There's
so
already a
I
motion and a
apologize.
second on the table.
I need to withdraw. I need to withdraw. Well, the
I can call the
motion's
vote.
not relevant because.
But we'll call the vote, and then we'll move on to the next thing.
I can withdraw my motion.
I'm following the advice of the attorney. Do you want to amend it? Do you want to?
I'm sorry. Are you saying I cannot withdraw my motion? No, you can. I know I can. Okay. Okay. I want to withdraw the motion because we do not all have access to the information needed to make a vote tonight.
Second. Well, no, I don't have to second you.
We had to vote on that.
One second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, we don't even need to vote.
Well, no, she withdrew, but don't we have to?
No, no.
Okay.
Okay, let's stay with business. We're going on to public hearings. Second reading ordinance 2026-15, an ordinance of the City of Palatka adopting a pre-approved exterior color palette for properties located within the designated historic districts.
This
Mr.
is the
Ogata.
second hearing?
Yes.
Motion to approve.
Thank you.
Second.
We have a motion, a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody here for public hearing? I should have done that first. Seeing no, close public hearing. Second reading, ordinance 2026-16, general employee pension ordinance.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion is second. Anybody here for public comment? Seeing no, we close public comment. All in favor? Aye. Any opposition? Thank you. Second reading, request to annex and rezone 500 Browning Avenue and 201 North Highway 17. That includes, I missed C? Trying to rush through. Okay, sorry. First reading, adopt ordinance 2026-18, an ordinance of the City of Palatka, amending the Palatka Municipal Code to establish regulations for public murals, providing definition, purpose, permit requirements, design review, maintenance standards, long-term care, and removal restoration procedures, providing for enforcement penalties, severability, scrivener's errors, and an effective date. Ms. West.
Sure. So currently, the city of Palatka does not have any sort of regulations as it pertains to murals, which are considered signs. So they do have to be content neutral in order to not violate the First Amendment of the Constitution. So this ordinance has been drafted in such a manner that does allow for the installation of murals with some guidance as to the nature of the murals, as you can see in the ordinance. It gives a nod to Palatka's history and culture and nature-based communities. So if you have any questions.
Any questions? If not, I'll move to public comment. I'm opening the floor to public comment. Ms. Kitchens?
Allegra Kitchens, Palatka, Florida. And I'm asking you to table this until you can have advertised as on the radio stations, and maybe letters sent to the art groups, the three original art groups, the Connolly Snyder Mural Committee, which has been here for 25 years, started in 98, the Platte Art League, 49 years, started in 77, and the Arts Council of Greater Palatka, been here for 51 years, started in 75. None of these organizations were aware of this ordinance as far as I know. I know the Art League wasn't, and the Connolly Snyder Mural Committee was not. I think it would behoove the city to have a public workshop, standalone public workshop, notify the three original groups, the two new groups, the Arts Alliance of Putnam County and the Gathering Artists of Putnam County, and the general public, so that we can all come together and talk about this ordinance. Basically, I don't have any problem with it, except under Section 3, applicability and scope, it says this ordinance applies to all, hear my word, all new murals proposed on exterior walls of both public and private buildings. So if I want to put a drawing on the side of my house, I can't do it. And if Connolly Snyder wants to put a new mural up, because we've already got one, we've got murals commissioned that people want us to put up. We can't do that now. We got to have the committee to approve it. And the problem I had with the committee is not the committee per se, but because it said, the committee says the same thing. The purpose of the committee is to advise the city on the planning, acquisition, placement, preservation, promotion of all public art, doesn't say murals, all public art within the city, whether located on public or private property. This ordinance says you may establish the committee, which Ms. West said that it doesn't matter because you could already establish it ahead of time, and it's fine. You've established a committee that says that we can't do, that we have to get permission to do any public art on private property as well as public. I can understand public. Now you've got an ordinance that says basically the same thing, and I'm asking you to table this, number one. And if you're not inclined to do that, and I suspect you aren't, then would you please remove the one word under Section 3 and have this say, this ordinance applies to new murals, not all new murals. That way, if the Connolly Snyder Mural Committee, we can continue with the murals that we've already been commissioned to do. We've got, and if this passes, it ties Connolly Snyder's hands. We're a 301c3 nonprofit in the state of Florida. We have money in our bank account. This says we can't do anything without a committee to approve it. And that's the way it's worded. And even a blind person could see that. But if you don't do anything else, at least remove the word that this applies to all new murals. Now, of course, we're still tied under the our Arts Advisory Committee, which says all public art. Again, the all in that word ties us down, but at least it gives us a little bit of wiggle room. But I would ask that you do that, either hold the public meetings, and so it was only fair to have citizens notified. And I don't want to hear, well, it's on the website, you can go to it. How many people, including you commissioners, go to that website 10 times a day to find out what's going on? I'm asking you to table this or remove the word all from section 3. Thank you very much.
Ms. Duke?
I don't have anything.
Okay, thank you. Is there anybody else here for public comment on this item? Seeing none, we'll close public comment. What is the will of the board? Commission. Do we have a motion?
Well, I'd like to hear from legal, based on,
go
I
ahead,
want
Ms.
like to hear her,
West.
Sure. Right now, as it stands, anyone can put up a mural along the side of a building that is not going to be regulated in any manner, because if you read our sign ordinance, it doesn't apply. So this provides some guidance to those who do want to put a mural up, in terms of, yes, they would need to get a permit through the planning department. It is not meant to be restrictive. It is meant to provide some guidance in terms of permitting, because otherwise you can end up with a mural that might not exactly portray images that this city would like. And we would have no way to regulate that.
And speaking to that, so what about offensive, something that may be offensive to one group or another? There's no language in there, is there language in there that states that? Because I think it should be stated. And if it comes to the commission, we should have the authority to deny or make them take it down.
So it does pertain to reflective themes that are basically are duplicative of what you see now in the murals. So again, it goes to Palatka's history, cultural, natural resources, like our riverfront heritage, our local ecosystems, our notable residents that have contributed to the history of Palatka. We can't regulate the content specifically in the way that you want, because then we will run afoul of the First Amendment. So it's a very fine line that we're walking, but right now we have nothing.
But yeah, but why put something that doesn't have teeth in it? So it's, at some point, offensive is interpreted by the individual. However, I think that saying something about it give us a little bit of leverage and authority, some kind of way.
So
That's just a thought, that's a thought.
We will get sued if we try to regulate the content. That's why we have vague general buckets of history, natural resources, important characters, but we can't regulate the actual content. It is a little tricky. But at least here, you have the opportunity to see through the permitting process of what is going to be proposed. And also another aspect here that has come up with the murals is there's a maintenance plan that is required, which is not currently the situation. So, again, if it's the will of the commission to have a workshop, that's fine. We can certainly do that. This was properly advertised, and the whole point of having 2 hearings on ordinances is to hear from members of the public.
And yes, the mural committee to date has maintained murals historically, but another entity could come forward if we didn't have this in place and have a mural constructed or painted and not maintain it, so it brings that continuity for everyone. Go ahead.
Move to accept.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposition? Thank you.
Nay.
Now we have 1 nay, sorry. Second reading, request to annex and rezone 500 Browning Avenue and 201 North Highway 17, ordinance number 2026-09, 2026-11.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion, a second. Is anybody here for public comment on this item? Seeing none, we'll close public comment. All in favor? Aye. Any opposition? Thank you. Second reading, request to annex and rezone 3129 Reed Street, ordinance number 2026-12, ordinance number 2026-14.
Motion to approve.
Second.
The motion is second. Is anybody here for public comment on this item? Seeing none, we close public comment. All in favor? Aye. Any opposition? Thank you. And now on to appeal to City Commission demolition of chimney HBP case 25-38, 120 Kirkland Street.
Okay. It has been a while since we've had an appeal from the Historic Planning Board. You have a template here in your agenda packet. This won't be quite as lengthy as in the past because the city will not be putting forward any witnesses here. Mr. Aguimo, I'm going to run through the template so the commissioners have an understanding. First, we need to have any ex parte disclosures. If you have communicated with any member of the Historic Planning Board or the appellant here. And
does anybody have?
I've had conversation with the appellant on our recess. To try to prolong this, just ask a picture of a before and after. So to clarify that, and so I'll disclose it.
Anybody else? Any
Anybody
ex
else?
parte?
No, I don't have any.
Oh, I have, okay, go on.
All right, at this time, I would request that the clerk please move forward with swearing in all witnesses that will be testifying in this quasi-judicial hearing.
If I may, before we do that, I would just give a little bit of background.
Okay,
This
yes,
appeal.
please, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to do that in staff presentation. Yep.
It's just an introduction to
That's
that,
fine, go
and then I will. Basically, what it is an appeal of the Historic Preservation Board decision to deny the demolition of an exterior chimney at 120 Kirkland Street. The applicant submitted an application for a certificate of appropriateness to demolish this chimney, and the request was heard by the Historic Preservation Board at their meeting January 8th, and they denied the request. I just want to point out that staff makes no recommendation on application for Historic Preservation Board items because we lack the expertise that is required to make a recommendation. And with that, I just let the process go.
Okay.
Sounds good. Clerk, if you could please swear in all witnesses. So everyone who will be testifying in this quasi-judicial hearing, if you could please stand.
Stand. Raise your right hand. You swear to solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Mr. Barry, if you'd like to
come up
go
to
up
the
to the
podium,
podium
please.
and present your case in chief. And you have a time limit of 15 minutes.
Good evening. My name is Warren Berry. I'm the homeowner at 120 Kirkland Street. And I'm appealing this because I would like permission to move forward and remove this thing based on safety and the fact that it is not original. Showing the pictures, you can see the gap behind it there, where the siding was all done first and this chimney was done later on after the fact. When they're done, like at the same time, the chimney's built to the framing with brick ties that hold it back, and then the sidings run up to it so it can be flashed properly. And then down to, if you go on to the next. So if you look, that's the wall where the chimney is now in the back there. And if you come on down to the next picture, that is actually the old chimney. So when I originally came here to get my COA, I met Mr. Larry Beaton. He was explaining to me that there was originally 2 chimney chases on top of the roof, not this one, and that's the proof of it because that's the actual interior chimney, which I found as we were opening it up and remodeling this place. So I'm in the process right now of restoring this place back to its original look completely. I've completed everything else to the board's recommendations, or in the process of it. You can see with the big grout lines and everything also, it wasn't done professionally. The really old stuff was done really well. The quality is real good. You can tell when you're looking at it. That's an after the fact job at some point. I'm not sure when it happened, but.
I've heard enough.
Okay.
I've heard enough.
Thank you. Mr. West, moving forward.
The city does not have any expert witnesses or any lay witnesses to present on this matter.
Okay, we've heard the testimony. Appellate.
Is it up for,
Go ahead.
so what's the next step if there's?
The next step is public comment.
I'm going to open the floor to public comment. Is anybody here for public comment on this agenda item? Seeing none, we'll close public comment.
We'll go ahead, because I'm ready to move forward.
What was the rationale? What was the reason they gave you for not approving?
They said that it made the house look old. Nobody could really determine when it was built, but they liked it.
Okay.
Can I make a motion?
Yes, go ahead,
I'll make a
please.
motion
I
that we
got
let
a
these kids.
comment too.
Oh, you want another comment?
I didn't never have one, but I want to make a comment.
Okay. Go ahead,
Uh,
sorry.
My only comment is that the planning commission the historic
Preservation
preservation board, they denied your destruction of this.
Yes.
Demolition, yep.
And so I'm trying to understand why does the commission have to come in and do cleanup work for boards that specialize in this stuff and do things that they are more tied to than we are, and we're coming in, we're going to overrule a board that we put in place to say, hey, so my opinion, I think it should be kicked back to the board and have the board to justify the reason why they can't do it, as opposed to it being so easily just dropped on the commission's lap. That's just my opinion.
Can I say another thing, please? In doing some research on this thing, the Secretary of the Interior for Standards of Treatment of Historic Properties is what the historic preservation boards are supposed to follow. And in their guidelines, it says restoration means the active process of accurately depicting the form, features, and character of a property as it appeared at a particular period of time. So it's not just picking a period of time, it's the original period of time. So this is clearly built after the fact, so it's not, like, in my opinion, they didn't really follow the guidelines that they should.
Thank you. So here's that's why my point is, why does it just fall on the commission's lap and we're going to have to overrule what they ruled on? So it just doesn't make any
I'll
sense.
let Ms. West speak to
Well,
that.
we're not tonight, because we're going to overrule it anyway.
Yeah.
I'd like to make a motion that we
Well,
allow
can we let
them
Ms. West speak?
Sure. I will say that
We've
the
had this
Historic
conversation
Preservation
before.
Board meets monthly and hears many, many cases which never make it up to you. So for the overwhelming majority of the cases that go before them, they think through thoughtfully and they make good decisions that are not appealed. Every once in a while, I believe this is the third appeal since I've been here. It's very rare. Sometimes they make decisions that they even know will be appealed, but they feel very strongly about preserving the historical integrity of certain buildings within the historic district. And that is their job, knowing full well that they may be overturned by the city commission.
Okay, with that said, we have a motion.
A motion to allow demolition of the chimney because it is not the original structure, and that's the reason why.
I second.
The motion is second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposition?
I'm saying no, only because that's the Historic Preservation Board's job. If we'd have pushed it back and then they would have denied it on that time, then I'd have probably said yes. But I want them to do the job. No.
Thank you. So we majority 4-1. Any commissioner comments for tonight? Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, everybody.
I have a question.
comments?
Yes,
Okay.
and this is for city manager. We talked about Doge and stuff like that today, which sparked a memory of, we hired someone, we approved to hire someone to do archives and records filing, because we were way behind. What's the status on that? That person, and who's tasked with that currently?
Okay, so we have a situation or an accumulation of records sitting over in the annex. So the approach for that is a lot of that paperwork. Well, first of all, we have to sort it. And Well, maybe I'm tired.
No, ma'am,
so
I just asked
ask
who was
the
hired, who's tasked with that, because
I'm exhausted.
one of those
I'm so tired, I can't even
positions
hear.
were for that task. And as we talked about labor and, you know, Doge, we've already made that hire. I just want to know who's doing it, who's tasked with it at this point. Ma'am,
You want to know who's tasked with?
archive and filing, the same documents you're talking about, because it just was, you know, it seems that they're not moving. So who's tasked with it and where are we with it?
Okay. So I have, I'm going to hire in a temporary group to attack that over there. And who's been tasked with record keeping, I believe, Ms. West, you're our records
I am
person?
the RMLO for the city, the Record Management Liaison Officer designated by the state.
Exactly.
So we hired someone because it was an administrative position that we put in the budget. You guys hired them, and one of the biggest pushes were because we need to get that task done.
Yeah.
We didn't hire, so you're telling me we haven't hired that person?
Yeah, we haven't hired anyone just for records that I'm aware of.
No, be a little.
That's why it's difficult for me to answer you.
Yeah, but
Go
ahead.
In his reference, there was a person that was hired prior to you that
Okay.
was hired to be the records custodian. That person is no longer with us.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
So, yeah.
As Commissioner Bourne
It
said,
was,
it was a part-time position.
Sonny Krantz led the process.
Yes, that's right.
In working through that, and she had, I think, 2 part-time staff that was working on the project to do all of the archiving of records that's been stored, and then new things that come in for the clerk's office.
Because they were all stored in the annex, and they were all just collecting there and very disorganized.
Right, getting destroyed. So I want to know who's responsible for getting it done, because we get further behind if we don't do it, and that's been almost a year and a half ago.
And some things have compliance, related to compliance and, from a time and regulation standpoint.
Right.
Exactly.
And second question is the takeaway from the city-county meeting. We talked about the Baileyville area and annexing it in or providing the water and sewer services in the Baileyville area. When we said we wanted to have an update, and that's why I want to ask in this forum, when will we get an update on where we are with trying to incorporate some kind of communication to the citizens in that area that would like to have city water and sewer, and explain the pros and cons of getting such? Where are we with that?
Okay.
Because we promised we'd get it.
Right, Commissioner, I would like to come back next meeting with an update.
Right.
And we are in fact working on it, but I would prefer to give an update next meeting. Thank you.
And real quickly, just to piggyback off Commissioner Jones and what he said about the Baileyville area, there's an individual in the group that had complaints about low-lying airplanes well below the altitude that they need to be, wrote up letters as it relates to that. In addition to that, dumping as well. So all of that right there is just right there adjacent to city limits, city lines. But these people are within Palatka, and that's the same thing that he's talking about as it relates to those enclaves. And so, if we can put a little bit more energy around that I think help our citizens out greatly.
Thank you. Anybody else have any comments?
Just
Go ahead.
lastly, I know that we had our meeting in January with the county. We almost are approaching our 3-month mark. I want to make sure that we continue to stay on top of that and make preparations for our next meeting.
Azalea Festival this weekend, Mayor's reception tomorrow night. Thank you. Motion to adjourn?
Right?